Hey everybody, Noah Films here, back in our video, and today I'm going to be doing a review and reaction of Aqua Spider-Man Episode 5. I rewatched all the episodes before this, and there's a lot of improvement, and that's just basically what I'm looking for in this episode. I do want to keep this little intro short because, like I said, the premiere is about to start. So overall, just looking for more improvement, and that's about it. And he said it's 9 minutes long, so that's a great runtime. I'm wanting longer episodes in this whole series. So I am interested to see what will happen. Alright, here we go. Oh, that's the intro. He just goes on his bed. Okay. Here's his new intro. I do think it is an improvement from the last one for sure. Looks a lot better. We got Mysterio here. Craven. Yeah, this is a lot better than the other intro.
Morning, May.
Peter, what happened to you?
Crescent as Aunt May still has him in there. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta be
I did
more
already see this
careful.
clip before.
So what?
Ultron 2.
Toby.
Oh, from Friendship 2. Yeah, I like this clip.
Herman.
Charging me with drug abuse?
What in the world? Drug abuse for Aunt May. That's weird. Is this supposed to be comedy? Is it fire?
Hope he's okay after what happened last night.
There's a lot of blurry shots in this. Yeah, the focus is not very good in a lot of these shots. This is just kind of some plain cardboard with like markers drawing, what is it, just random squares.
Got it, boss.
Not sure how much I like that, but at least he's putting more effort into his sets. Got Tombstone. Seems like he's introducing a lot of villains in this episode. I saw Green Goblin in the credits, and now we got Shocker and Tombstone. I don't know about that. TJ is Shocker. Not sure how much he fits as Shocker. I think it's too young to be like a main villain. Like his voice sounds too young. They're just having a plan. Yeah, wow. I have this on the highest quality, but yet there's so many blurry shots in here. Okay. Wow, okay. Oh, alright, that's a cool transition. I do like that. It's better than the last time he attempted transitions in his episode 3. These are a lot better. They're a lot quicker, and they actually look visually entertaining, I guess.
Sorry.
You see, I saw this clip, I gave him critiques, and he didn't really, he didn't fix it because they just kind of topple onto each other, and they should have bumped into each other and kind of gone back a little bit, but not falling into each other, I guess. Peter Parker. Ooh, I like that little camera movement in the shots there. Ooh.
Hey, are you thirsty?
Hey, this is probably one of the better sets in the animation.
Here's your knuckle sandwich, and here's your knuckle sandwich, and here's your knuckle. Ow.
Punching looked good. Drawn effects are okay. A little basic, but they're not bad.
Oh, today's work.
Who is this? Ooh. Yikes. That's a big yikes for Spider-Man. Not really clear on who these guys are and who they're exactly working for. I'll have to rewatch it just to get clear on that.
Saying Shocker and Spider-Man have collapsed inside
Oh,
a
it's
building
me.
after fighting. What do we do?
Leave it to
I like this lighting. It seems like he's experimenting with new lighting, which is good. Oh, he just takes them out one punch? Okay.
Peter, why have you sick after what happened a few days ago?
You see, the Aunt May voice, it's annoying.
Peter, you need
For,
to tell
like,
me these things.
it's
I'm here for you.
a nice joke, I guess, but for like, if you're actually trying to make a serious episode, this is, not the way you go with Aunt May. Episode 5, the plan. So that's it? Okay. Interesting.
With you.
So it's just about 3 villains in one episode, including post-credit scene, but 2. Not sure. They didn't really get too much development. But I'm guessing that's it? Okay, that's it. Alright, so I'm gonna watch that another time, and then I'll be back to do my full review. Alright, so I'm back now after rewatching Aqua Studios Spider-Man Episode 5. I've rated all the categories, so we're gonna go from lowest to highest, and then we'll end it off with the review score. I bet you know how this works by now, so I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's just get right into it. Lowest category, I have characters at a 4 out of 10 because the characters were not very good. he introduces a lot of them, and that makes it feel like jumbled up, I guess is the right word, because he introduces Shocker and Tombstone, and then at the end with the post-credit scene he has Green Goblin, and he has Ox and Ricochet. So that's about 5 total villains, or just 4 for like the entire animation, and then you can count Green Goblin in too with the post-credit scene. But yeah, so he's got 5 active villains now over the series, from being introduced in this episode. And I feel like that's a big problem, because introducing so many villains is just, you can't really do justice to the villains if you just keep on shoving more villains in, because there have been so many villains in this entire series. That's one of my biggest problems with it. And it doesn't seem like he's really learning from that. Like, you can't have so many villains in there. So just focus on 1 or 2 villains. Preferably just 1 for an entire arc in the series, because gosh, this was, with the characters, they couldn't get much development with the villains, at least, because the villains, there was just too many of them. And then Peter himself, he didn't get too much development either. I mean, we introduced Aunt May in here, but Aunt May's kind of played off more as a joke, especially with the drug abuse line. I didn't like that, but that's more of the voice acting's problem rather than the writing. But still, the writing kind of had Aunt May as a little bit of a joke, because like I said, the drug abuse line. So yeah, that was not Aunt May-like at all. And then we have a scene between Peter and Flash, which I think is decent. It was nice to see both Peter and Flash, and kind of that. So that was decent, I guess. That's something to go into characters. But there's just a lot of stuff in here. I mean, Kurt Connors is in this too. And yeah, it's just not the best with the characters. So yeah, that's why I give it a 4. Then we have plot at a 4.8 out of 10. The plot was, so there was some decent stuff in there. It took me the rewatch to really understand more what was going on, because there was a lot of stuff in this. But I do think the overall plot is not super bad, because it was just, I mean, once I rewatched it, it was a little bit easier to follow. But my first time watching it, it was pretty hard to follow, which is why I can't give it a good score. And there's a lot of stuff shoved into 9 minutes, which 9 minutes, when you really think about it, is not that long. I mean, it is a solid runtime. I do applaud him for that, because 9 minutes is pretty good. But still, when you fit so much into just 9 minutes, it is not really going to work out. You make it longer so that that the pacing can be solved and stuff, and the pacing in this was not good either. But yeah, making it longer would fix that if you didn't just shove more stuff into it. Keep the same amount of stuff you would normally have in a 5-minute episode, and just stretch it out to 9 or 10 minutes, and that's how it works. So then things can be developed more, things can make more sense, and that's the reason you make it longer, not to just put more stuff into it. And I feel like you didn't really understand that with this. But I do think there was some decent stuff in the plot, kind of with like just Shocker and his Ricochet and Ox. They were in their little heist, and I think that was decent. And the introduction of Kurt Connors and that little plot, I think that's cool to see for the rest of the series, but I don't think it should have been introduced here. And yeah, like I said, pacing's not good. And overall, also another thing with the plot is Spider-Man just takes out Shocker in one punch at the end of that fight. I feel like they could have had a climactic final fight or something like that, to really do Shocker more justice, and just to have that be a better ending to an exciting action sequence. But instead we just have Spider-Man uppercut Shocker, and then it's basically over. So I don't really like that. But yeah, plot, I mean, it's probably the best plot of the series so far, but it still has a lot of room for improvement. We have sets at a 5.2 out of 10. The sets were fine. It's 5.2 is an above average rating, and the sets, they were decent. Like I said, he does put a lot more effort into it. He uses some cardboard and actually cuts out some windows in there, and has some actual buildings, and draws some labels on the building or whatever, or like I think there was a Stark Lab one or something like that. I saw the name Stark on one of the buildings, so I do like that. And yeah, there was actual buildings and stuff, and it really felt like I could be a little bit more immersed into the world. But regardless, my main problem with the sets is just they're really cheap. like, yeah, you can get cheap sets, but he doesn't really spend like any money, it doesn't seem like, because it's really just cardboard and then other stuff that you can find around your house, which is not bad. But I do feel like whenever he gets money, he should spend it on like some paint and getting more cardboard and some paintbrushes and all that, because the thing that could really help these sets with all the cardboard that's in it is the paint, because the paint, you could have all the different colors and that makes it a lot more interesting to look at. So yeah, paint, it's a really good tool to have with your sets. So that's the big thing I recommend, to take your sets to the next level. But it's good that you are putting more effort into it, and that's why I give it a decent score of a 5.2. Voice acting, I gave a 5.3 out of 10, because the voice acting, it was pretty decent. Aqua as Peter is pretty good. I do like DNA was Kurt Connors, and Tombstone, I don't know who voiced Tombstone, but he was pretty solid. And there was a few other cameos by other people in the community for like some henchmen. I played a henchman, and it was not bad, but my main problem with the voice acting is just, there was TJ as Shocker, and I don't really like that, because TJ is pretty young, and he doesn't really fit the role of Shocker too well. So yeah, and usually TJ doesn't really put too much emotion into his voice acting. However, here, he did have some decent lines where he actually put in some emotion, so that was good, but I just don't think his voice fits the role of Shocker, no matter how good his emotion is in his voice acting or whatever. And Crescent Moon Animations is not May. I don't know about that, because Crescent, first off, he's a guy. Like, let's get that straight. A guy should not really be voicing a female character, but it could decently work, because Crescent doesn't really have the deepest voice ever. Deepest voice. But, the voice was really annoying. Like, it sounded like a joke, and it probably was to Crescent. And, yeah, Ame should not be played off as a joke. That was the big problem with voice acting, is just Crescent as Aunt May. It was really annoying for me, and also it just contributed to Aunt May's character not being very good, because the voice acting was... it was not good for Aunt May at all. And I wanted him to change it, because he showed the clip, the first appearance of Aunt May, and I laughed. I was like, okay, it's a joke. He'll probably change to the Aunt May voice actor. But no, he did not. And she keeps showing up with this weird voice, and I don't like it at all. I know you're gonna be like, oh, but it's a joke and stuff, but Aunt May should not be a joke. Aunt May is a vital character to Peter Parker, and the voice acting makes her a joke, because, I mean, just listen to the voice. Just listen to the voice, and how can you say, oh yeah, that's a serious character, that's a vital character to Peter Parker? But yeah, Aunt May's voice acting was not great. So Crescent, please take it seriously, or Aqua, find a new voice actor for Aunt May, because wow, that was not good. That was yikes. Overall, the performances, there was nothing particularly amazing. They were all just okay. A lot of stuff in this animation is just okay. It's not awful, but it's not particularly good or amazing. Dialogue, I gave a 5.7 out of 10, because dialogue, it's also okay. There were a few lines that were a little iffy for me, a little unnatural, a few that didn't really make any sense. But overall, the dialogue was not bad. It's improved for sure, because some of the dialogue in the first few episodes was pretty cringy and I didn't like it. But dialogue here, it's getting a lot better. The writing in this was so much better. So yeah, you're getting better with dialogue. Just keep on improving. Make sure you make it more natural. Like the Gwen and Peter exchange seemed a little unnatural. Like Gwen just right away brings up that, oh, I'm having a party. So I do feel like that was a little weird. It could have added in more lines of dialogue to make that feel more like a flowing conversation. So I didn't really like that in the dialogue. Next, I have audio and visual quality at a 5.8 out of 10, because, well, the audio quality is good. I mean, I could hear everyone pretty clearly. There wasn't like any static much, so that was good. No real background noise in the audio quality, but my main problem with this is just the visual quality, because it did take a big step back. Episode 4 had some clear shots and all that, but right here, the visual quality was not that good, because there were many, many shots that were very blurry. There were a few shots that looked decent, but most of them really looked blurry, and you gotta pay more attention to that focus because it was really noticeable, especially when he does like a little bit more zooming in right on the characters' faces. Like I think, was it Captain Stacy? There was like a big close-up, and it was super blurry on his face, so that was not good. Yeah, so visual quality didn't really work for me, but the audio quality really saves this category from being not a good score. Next, I have editing at a 6 out of 10. Because the editing, it was solid. There were some decent stuff in there, like the glass breaking visual effect was good. He did a lot of drawn effects, and I think those are all right. They are pretty basic, though. But I do think basic drawn effects can work for the most part. So, yeah, it's definitely some better drawn effects than I do. But, yeah, they are a little basic. But, you know, they're not bad. The sound effects were decent. It's just kind of a lot of the regular sound effects you hear all the time, but, you know, they weren't bad. The punching sound, he uses kind of the same punching sound effect throughout, like, this whole series, and I don't really like it too much. But there was some decent stuff there in editing. It's just my main problem with it that really tanks the score, kind of. It's just some of the music choices were weird. Like, you have that weird, like, meme music or whatever when the police were there investigating the crime scene or whatever it was. Yeah, so, and then there were a few other weird music choices, I think. But, yeah, sometimes the music was a little loud, I think. Like in that final scene between Aunt May and Peter, I think that was pretty loud in what is supposed to be an emotional moment, but of course, Aunt May being played off as a joke, kind of. But yeah, editing, it was solid, not bad. And for our next category, we have choreography at a 6.2 out of 10, because 6.2, it's a pretty good score. I like the choreography. The action was well done. It was, well, I was going to say well animated, but that's more animation. But yeah, the overall choreography was pretty creative for the most part. I did like it. And that's really all I have to say. I don't have like a super detailed explanation on why I like it, because I'm not like some choreography mastermind or something. But yeah, I did like it. The action sequences were well done. I like them. They're probably the best of the series so far. You know what? Definitely the best of the series so far. But yeah, so overall, not really too many problems with it. It's just kind of a few basic stuff, but I did like it for the most part. It's just nothing was spectacular or super wild with the choreography. And then next we have cinematography at a 6.3 out of 10, because there was some good shots in here. I did like the one where we have all like the criminals, the moving shot, and then we saw them there. And there was some other decent shots too. I feel like having more props in the sets and stuff made the shots better and more interesting. And also he just uses some different angles too, a few like some moving shots, and there was some new lighting too, some different colors, which is great. I do think that made it feel a lot more cinematic. So cinematography was pretty good, but the only thing really holding this back a lot is just there was not really many establishing shots. And that makes it feel kind of claustrophobic, and I don't like that. There should be an establishing shot like almost every time. So make sure you get those in. There were a few establishing shots, and when they were there, they were pretty good. But for the most part, there were no establishing shots, and that needs to be improved upon. So yeah, if there are establishing shots, honestly, this is probably like a 7 out of 10 category or something. But yeah, it was still good. And yeah, just keep on improving with cinematography, because that was a very strong part of this animation. And then with the highest category, we have animation itself at a 6.5 out of 10, because it has improved a lot. It's a lot smoother. It's a lot more realistic. I do like it. There were some stiff moments in the last few episodes, but there's not really that much here. And yeah, just realistic, decently smooth. There were a few choppy moments though. I did not really like that too much, and a few movements were a little iffy. Like some of the running wasn't the greatest. It looks kind of awkward, but it's not bad. I feel like he should use the feet articulation for the running more, and that'll make it more realistic, I guess. But yeah, overall animation was good. Punching was a lot better. He is getting pretty good at punching. And yeah, animation, strongest part of this film for sure. And I did really like it. So yeah, 6.5, it's a pretty good score. Now, when you total up all the categories, it is going to get a 56%, which is worse than I gave episode 4, but I was being really nice in my review there. I gave it like a 65%, and I'd probably lower that to around, like, I think I did the categories for episode 4, and it got a 52% from me. So yeah, enjoyment is still like a 60%, but yeah, so that episode, I do think it is a little bit worse than this one. I do enjoy it more, but yeah, anyway, my final score for this one is 56%. So like a 50 to 60% is like, has quite a lot of problems, but I did enjoy it for the most part. But yeah, so 56%, kind of right in the middle of that. It was good, I do feel like, but it just has quite a bit of problems that kind of just weigh it down. There's a lot of potential here, but I do think there was a lot of issues with the writing, especially for the characters. But yeah, overall, he did improve in a lot of areas, but also kind of regressed a little bit in some others. But overall, it was a solid animation. I did enjoy it. I'd probably bump it up to that 60% for the enjoyment. However, this is probably my second favorite of the series. I think I still like episode 4 a little bit more, but this was still really solid, and he is improving a lot, and I hope to see some improvements in the writing. Focus on your writing a lot. Take a lot of time on this script for episode 6, and just make it good. I still have Cybernerd Studios and Gamer Lajai writing, and make sure you listen to their ideas for sure, and really just try and learn from them, because there are some pretty good writers, especially Gamer Lajai. Like, he helped with HVA, he helped with Spider Dude series, which is really good. So yeah, listen to them. They know what they're doing, and not saying you don't know what you're doing at all, but you got a lot to grow in writing, because you struggled with that. So make sure you listen to them and just keep on improving with your writing, and that's the main thing. And then also just improve in all the other areas too, but yeah, mainly focus on your writing, basically. So that is it for my review. This was a little bit longer than I've usually had for my recent reviews, but I did have a lot to say on this episode. I did enjoy it. I don't hate Aqua. I'm just trying to help him. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Request stop motions for me to review, and don't be afraid of constructive criticism, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help people with these reviews. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to just put others down. I'm simply trying to be helpful, and I do think all of these categories are vital to making a good animation, because like, you can have fantastic animation but have a bad story, and it's not very good sometimes. Like, I've seen a lot of animations, like, they have amazing animation, but the writing is lackluster, so I can't really give it an amazing score. So you got to be good in every single category in order to get a good score from me. And yeah, so make sure, like, if you're gonna request a review from me, make sure you can take criticism, because I am not going to hold back. I am not going to be nice just for the sake of it. So yeah, make sure you can take criticism, basically, is what I'm saying. So yeah, there's my little ramble on. I've talked a lot here, so I'm just going to end it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.